Okay, so let's take a look at how you can set up Windows Server in Microsoft's Azure's virtual machine. So what we can do is log into Azure portal. Next thing we can check virtual machine, right? And another way to check the virtual machine is through search bar, or you can use the menu and then virtual machine. Right now here you can see option to create a new virtual machine, and here you will be setting things up. You can check the subscription, then resource group, right? I will pick one. Then machine name, let's name it Azure Windows. Then pick the region, choose it randomly, later it will auto adjust. Now choose available option with zone 1. Security type, there are 3: standard, confidential and trusted. So let's go with standard as we want something basic. Then comes image, so we go and check for Windows images. Here you see Windows Server 2019, 2016, then Windows desktop versions, Windows 11, 10 and Datacenter. So this particular edition is free service eligible. I can use that, right? So for test purpose I will select this. Right now this means all the resources will be adjusted to follow. You have region Asia Pacific, right? Next zone is adjusted as well. Next thing, here you will have to pick the higher size. Right, notice that currently whatever we have selected is a bit taking us on a costly side, right? Here you can see insufficient quota for family limit, unsupported generation, and here you have only option between D series. So 4 CPUs, 16 GB RAM could be one option, but it is not letting us select that, right? So we pick that option. So we will go with, let's see, 4 CPU 16 GB if it allows us to select that. Okay, so it is letting us select that. Now let me put admin username, right? Then I will have to add the password as well, and considering this will be using remote desktop option, we will have to choose the ports to connect to. HTTP, you can also use SSH, and if you want any other, that. Now that I have added the password, next thing will be to review this and creating our virtual machine. Now in order to connect we will be needing RDP, which is remote desktop. So use remote and it will open remote desktop connection app. So let's keep it somewhere here. Okay, so let's go and review again, and it has started with validation. Here you can see 32 rupees per hour running instance, pretty costly if you ask me. Now let's go and click create. Now notice that we have status OK messages and deployment is in progress. Now you can see the deployment completed, right? And we have RDP connection as well, but for that we will have to check the resource. Now when you go to resource, you get the details required for connecting. Now here you can see your virtual network, public IP, right? So all these details we have. Right now here, let's say we have our computer name, and I'm going to add my IP here. Click connect. Let's see what it does. So here I will be using my username, then password. Enter the password. You can use remember me and click OK. Say yes. Right, there will always be certificate errors because we have to set them up. Now as you can see, I connected to that particular machine. Here it is first time running, so it will be taking me for all the setup options. Notice that this may feel like your Windows desktop, just like you use every day, right? Here you can see allow PC to be discoverable, etc. So for now we will not play with these settings. Here you can see your server manager, right? So you can configure your server from this point, right? You can check the local server tab, and also you will have a lot of things to set. For example, if you want to set your certificates, that is one of the part that you have to set. You can find the version of Windows here as well. Azure Datacenter edition, 16 GB and 158 GB. One more thing, as long as this machine works and runs, it will be charging you some amount, and it would kind of show you all the running costs on your Azure portal. Here you will have to set some of the critical stuff up, right? And you can also take a look at file and storage, right? It is the version pre-activated, so you don't have to worry about license or so. Everything is there. You are good to go. You can set IIS up, right? So just like you do the Windows server administration normally, you will have to follow that, right? You can minimize this, explore around. It's typical Windows desktop. You can go and check your settings in settings here. So considering it's the version, that would be showing you all the data, right? So here you have Datacenter Azure Edition version 21H2 installed and all that, right? So I can close this instance, and if I want to disconnect, I will be using the top close button. This will clear the remote desktop connection and we are out. So you get the workflow. We set things up on Azure portal. Next we also managed to set the password and username, right? Along with that, we always need public IP to connect to. In case of Windows machine, that's all you need. You don't even need SSH keys like you do with Linux. Just username, password, and your RDP on Windows machine. You are connected to this. Now the thing is, we have set everything up. We want to get rid of this particular spec. To do that, I will first stop the running instance. Then I will delete this resource, right? This will delete all the unused services, and it will also give me chance to free the CPU and memory, right? Now what I can do is I will delete this, and let's take a look at option to delete this entirely. So let's assume that you are working on this machine and regularly want to work, then in that case you don't need to do this. This is for only those people who test things out regularly and they want to delete the resource once it is unused and they don't want to come back to it, right? So select that, all the resources that you don't need, and simply click delete. Then we will return to our virtual machine section. So home, then virtual machine. Let's find out whether we have this deleted or it stays. So it will take around 2 to 5 minutes depending on where the resources were allocated, and you can then